Welcome back to I Said It With No Edit, Motivational Mondays. Today I have Miss Rachel with me coming with some really interesting stuff. Grab your pen and paper, sit back, and let's do this. Miss Rachel, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing so great. Thanks for having me on here.
I want to thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. As everybody knows, I typically don't dive into too much information before I have my guest on, because I like to learn as they present. So I'm going to give the floor right to you, Miss Rachel. Now, let me ask you, what is it that you do and offer people? How do you service people?
Yeah, so my main goal is to transform the outdoor industry. Traditionally, the outdoor spaces are not very diverse. It sort of serves a certain market. So I work with businesses, organizations, municipalities to increase awareness on diversity issues in outdoor spaces. And also the distinction I make around the work that I do is like create tangible systems to like move the needle forward. So action steps people can take like straight away to have their business, their organization, and their space more inclusive. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, can you give a little bit more detail? Because just me, like an example, like what do you mean? Like outdoor space? What do you like? Give me like, what do you do? If I come to you, what would be a service that you would like? I don't know. Like who would come to you?
Yeah, so generally speaking, it's either outdoor educators, outdoor leaders, outdoor folks in the outdoor retail industries, like some of the bigger names in the industry, Petzl, North Face, REI, companies like that, or nonprofits that are in the game of outdoor education or outdoor recreation. So they might be providing services to the public like whitewater raft trips or climbing excursions. And what I do is work with businesses like that, and also municipalities that are looking to make their like travel and tourism opportunities more inclusive and welcoming to people who have traditionally been marginalized in those spaces. So Black and Brown communities, LGBTQIA plus communities, folks that have the same hunger for the outdoors in a lot of ways, but aren't traditionally represented in those spaces. Right?
Yeah. Interesting. Now let me ask you, why do you offer this? Like, why do you offer this?
Yeah, so for me, it's sort of part of my personal narrative. I'm originally a city kid from Boston, Roxbury, Boston, and I made the jump to a very rural town that was like racially and ethnically desolate, but one of the greatest coping mechanisms I had to learn how to exist in a new space that I wasn't familiar with was hiking and summer camp and being in those outdoor spaces. So I was a rock climber for a long time. I've sort of played in outdoor spaces for a long time. And the reason I started doing this work is because I saw a gap in our industry where, again, people of marginalized communities weren't really showing up in those spaces a lot. But I sort of knew from experience, my own experience and from friends of mine, that people generally want to be outside and want to be included. So it was how best do we serve that market now? Yeah.
I love it. And I love it. It's really unique. Now, let me ask you, what makes I can't even say what makes you different, because honestly, I don't know of a lot of people that honestly do what you do. Now, let me ask you, is there other people in this? I'm sure it is, but is there other people in the industry doing what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not the first. I'm sort of a newer generation of folks that are in outdoor transformation. And what really makes me unique is, again, the distinction I make around the work is that there are so many conversations and discussions around diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, especially now in this country, given, the entirety of 2020 into where we are now. So I'm sort of, again, a new generation of folks that are saying, so what, now what? We've had all these really intense, really great discovery sessions, learning opportunities. 2020 was the year of the great reveal.
Man, look.
and now, and what do we do with that information? And then from here, how do we dismantle the systems that have had these sort of things happen, right? Not just in the outdoor world, but in our country in general. Correct. And create new systems to move the needle forward, So I'm about action. Yeah, that's what makes me do it.
I love it. And I hate to do this. I'm going to say I hate to do this, but this is just how my brain works. Could you give me another example? Because I'm trying to write, like, I think I understand, but I'm really trying to grasp. All right, so say I have my company, a clothing line, and I maybe want to do something like a event, I would like outdoors or something, like I would contact you, something in that nature, or do you come in just communities and help communities out?
Yeah, it's sort of all the above. So a great example,
Oh, okay.
if you're the clothing line, right, and you want to have your line be more inclusive, right? Say that your clothing line traditionally serves a certain group of people. Maybe it's
Yes.
Women in their 30s, right?
Yes.
And you want to make sure that you're expanding your market reach to Black and brown communities, to folks who are female bodied but also male bodied. Say you want to extend your line and expand your line to not only feed your bottom line, have another marketing opportunity, but have your business be inclusive to lots of different people.
Cool. Okay.
So that's sort of the general nature. My specificity is in the outdoor space, where say you're an outdoor retailer that is traditionally served upper class, middle-aged white men, right? But there are tons of Black and brown people, women and younger generations, that want to be out in outdoor recreation. When they, I know for me growing up, I would pick up LL Bean catalogs, right? Because I always thought hiking stuff was cool, but I would never really see myself represented in those images.
I get it.
So
okay.
I work with companies to make sure that not only is their imagery diverse, but is their company culture welcoming of new folks that are coming into outdoor space. Yeah.
Now I get the picture, and I love that. Okay, I love that. Okay, I like that. That's interesting. Like I want to go more into it. I'm trying to think. Could you? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to pull it out because I find it interesting, and it's like I'm trying to think, how could I visualize it, like with what I'm doing, like I'm a podcast, I'm an author. Like what could I do to kind of like utilize your service? Like what would I do to utilize your service? So I would come to you and maybe I'm assuming we do a photo shoot, or you would advocate for us, or you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Would it be along those lines?
It's similar, yeah, in the sense that, so if you're, it's sort of like if your podcast, right, say you wanted to reach a broader market with your podcast, in terms of your marketing and your style, right, we're looking at not only how does it serve your current market, right, so the folks that are tuning in, and then also how can you serve a new market. So looking at what your content is, what your subject matter is, saying, is this relevant to not only this set of people that I serve every day, but what's even a broader swath of folks that would want to hear my podcast, right? And how can I access them? Yeah,
I get it. Interesting. And I'm all about nature and I live outside.
Yeah.
I'm in the car. Yep. I live outside. I love being outside. So
yes.
I like it. That's interesting. Now, let me say, do you have any advice or tips for anybody that maybe want to work with you or get your services, anything in the realm? Do you have any advice or tips for them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, one of the biggest things about diversity work is that folks hesitate to start the work, where like anything else, there's always a little bit of trepidation around getting uncomfortable and having conversations around diversity issues, right?
Yes.
As human beings, a lot of times we're like afraid to say the wrong thing, or we don't want to step on somebody's toes.
Offend somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So my thoughts around it are for anything to change, right? For transformation to happen, whether it's in the outdoor space or in a city setting, municipality, if it's in a community, for anything to shift, we've got to go, like the only way out is through, right? So to start having these conversations, reach out to professionals that can help mediate and facilitate a lot of this work so that you can take that kind of geek factor, that uncomfortableness out.
Now, is that what you do?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I love it.
Absolutely. Yes.
I love it. Okay. So we come to you.
You got it. Yeah.
Got it. And I like that.
Yeah. And it can be so helpful, to have someone to sort of navigate and guide those conversations so that we can start taking committed action toward the future that we want. Yeah.
I love that. Now, anybody that's looking and interested to reach you, contact you for questions or concerns, how can they reach you? And as y'all always know, I leave it in the description box, but how can we reach you, Miss Rachel?
That's awesome. So the good old internet is amazing. So the website is rhaley, Hailey, consulting.com. And then you
Okay.
can reach me via email also, info@rhaleyconsulting.com as well. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Is there anything else you want to share with us today?
I'm just so glad to be on, and thank you very much. Sasha, this has
I
been
love
great.
it. I
So
love it. Because I was reading like about a little bit about you, and I'm like, I'm really interested, like, to figure out, like, learn what it is you do, because I love learning different things and the things that people can come up with to be creative and make a world a better place. And it's like, I never heard of this. I never heard of, and it's like, that's cool. Like, that's really cool. So
thank you.
I thank you for doing what you're doing. We need more people like you. Again, if this resonates with y'all, please contact her, figure out maybe how you can start in your community, whatever the case may be. If you want to work over, if you need her for your business, whatever the case may be, please hit her up. And as always, I said it with no edit.